What's up YouTube, it's your boy Dumb Boss and welcome to a new video called Master Duel Analysis. Now obviously you're wondering what is the series of this channel? Well, we're obviously trying to showcase new things, especially with new strategies, new meta coming up every time. It's good to actually showcase what we can do, where every move is a masterpiece and every play is a potential game changer. So we're going to guide you through some of the Master Duel's best obviously decks, and obviously matchups, and we're going to ready to dive into the mind of how we dissect, analyze, as well as strategize our way through every matchup. Now, we're obviously going to unlock the secrets and level the plays, as well as elevate your game to the next level. And this is Master Duel Analysis, where victory isn't just a possibility, it's a certainty. So, the only way to do that is if you have to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the video, so you can learn some useful tips that you can use to improve your game. So, enjoyed the first episode. Let me know if you want to see more, and apologies for the audio. This was recorded live and this is the first time doing this, so the audio might be a bit choppy for some of the parts, but more or less apologies in advance. If not, you can enjoy the video. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Like the idea, make sure to comment down below what other suggestions I can put in. We're back with Marincess. As you can see, the deck list is on the screen. And this is obviously the 50 card build that we have been using for quite a few months now. Well, 2 months to be exact. And you can see the deck list hasn't changed too much, but I did make some slight changes. So as you can see, Mandarin is now cut down to 2 again. I did drop 1 Mandarin for Harvey's Feather Duster because, like I said, Labyrinth is kind of in the meta right now and things are a bit crazy. Everyone's sitting back pro heavy. So I just want to have a little bit of protection. If I have a thrust target, at least I can go into Feather Duster to kind of clear the board and then take it from there. Other than that, deck is pretty much the same. We obviously do have the Kashira package, we do have the IJ package. So we pretty much have board presence even if you don't have much going on. I mean, Kashira Ogre and, you know, Gamir Adrian does a lot already. Even without any Marincess cards, they alone are a quite powerful duo. But yeah, we're gonna go into, obviously now, the whole concept of this is duel analysis. So what is it basically? It's me taking you guys through some replays, which I've done for the past few days. Now, you would have seen some of the games uploaded already on the channel, and some you have not seen before. So it just depends what I want to give you guys. But of course, I also want to get you guys involved as well. So maybe at some point, you'll see a notification where I'll leave a link in the description later on, where maybe you can add your own clips. You can post it on there, you can put your ID on there, you can send me your replays, and then maybe I'll have a look at it, and then I'll obviously have a review. It doesn't have to be Marincess specifically, it can be any deck in general, and just to pretty much give advice to anybody that's watching the channel, basically, just to share some community tips. Obviously, if you are a water deck enjoyer like myself, you can definitely send your clip whenever. But for now, we can just focus on my clips that I made now at the moment. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So this is the deck list. Now let's jump into the replay of today. So this is the first opponent that I'm going to showcase you guys. So as you have seen, this is the Flandreese matchup that I had already on my channel. And this is the deck list that the opponent was using. Now you can see this is a pretty much standard Flandreese. Now of course, Flandreese has been heavily nerfed over the past few months. As you can see, the M-Pen's at 1. You know, all the parts are pretty much at 1 because, of course, it is a consistency card. They don't rely on special summoning a lot. And obviously, the extra deck doesn't really matter because they're only just using it just to draw more cards. And obviously, for them, their main goal is to get the M-Pen out, plus maybe Apex Avian, or if you want to send cards back on the field, they want to use the Riser. And obviously, they have a lot of protection to protect. Now, notice there's no Dimensional Shifter. And usually Dimensional Shifter is kind of a game breaker for most decks because, especially for Marincess, it does kill our deck. But for some reason they didn't play it. They rather opted for Dark Ruin no more, evenly matched, which is fair enough. I mean, obviously they're probably going second a lot, so it is assisting them going second. Although no imperms, a bit suspect, more Call by the Grave. They're playing 3 Max C, which is a bit odd. They're playing 1 Nibiru, which, I mean, you will see it will come up. And then randomly they're playing Slifer the Sky Dragon. I don't know why they're playing Slifer the Sky Dragon, but they are playing it. But nonetheless, this is the opponent's deck list. Let's jump into the replay. Right. Okay, so let's put the dual lock up. So we were going first. Now, of course, we have Pascalis, we have Spring Girl, and we have Blue Tang. So we're going to use the Pascalis first. It's resolved, so we're going to use Blue Tang. To send obviously the Basilima. Now, why do I send the Basilima? Because obviously, because we're in the meta now where people are destroying cards on the field, Basilima is kind of an option now for Marincess. If you're playing Marincess specifically, it's going to definitely help you. Now, you're probably wondering, why would you run this card? No, this card doesn't just protect Marincess monsters, it protects all your monsters. Because it says here, if monsters you control would be destroyed by card effect, manage this card instead. Now, obviously, it has to be in the graveyard first, it can't be in your hand. So the first thing my thought now, every time I have opportunity, send Basilima to the graveyard. Obviously, if it's in my hand, I have to find a way to get it to the graveyard. So I either discard it or I do something else. So that's my plan. So that's what I did first. Send the Basilima. Then obviously now we're going to make sure we go for a regular turn, which you've seen from the channel. We're trying to bet a link 4 with Wave. Yes, the other option could be go for Argonaut, but sometimes it's not always the best play because again, we're in a meta where even the matches there and you don't want to get your entire field board wide. So go for the safer play, try and get a link 4 with Wave, at least you're okay. Plus have something in your hand as well in the graveyard. So that's the priority here. So we link off into Blue Slug, get the Scalis back. Now we use Blue Tang on the link 2. Before we get there, we have to go to Sea Angel and we're going to use the chain block. So what is a chain block? A chain block is preventing an effect on a higher chain link. So basically the effect that you want to activate, that will be chain link 1. That's the one you want to protect. The other one will be a random effect. So because you want to make sure we prevent this card from being Ash, because obviously it's going to add either Marincess spell, which is going to be Dive, or if you're in a Battle Ocean, you can add Battle Ocean if you want to. So here, you can chain block the Blue Tang, because Blue Tang has an effect when it's into the graveyard, the Linkman summon of a water monster. You can activate the top card of your deck, and if you do, add 1 activated Marincess card to your hand. So you can either activate Blue Tang first, then you want to means Blue Tang is going to be the first priority, chain link 1, and Sea Angel chain link 2. But the problem is you open yourself up to Ash. So you want to protect the effect that you want. So that's what we call chain blocking. So only can do it when a monster has an exact trigger effect. So this is a trigger effect on summon, add a Marincess spell. On link summon, send to the graveyard, add a card from your deck, add some Marincess card. That's what you're doing here. Alright. So we successfully chain block. Now we've got the 3 cards. You see we only have the Blue Tang added from that 3 cards, and then we get our Marincess Dive. We link off into the foreign enemy now. Here, at this point in the duel here, the field lit up for the opponent. Now obviously we can't see it live, but when I was playing this duel, I saw, hey, the field was lighting up. And normally, when the opponent's field lights up, it's either they have a hand trap, or they have some sort of disruption potentially, because it's only triggered when the monster is summoned. So my first point was it impermanence? No, they would have used it already earlier to prevent Sea Angel, because Sea Angel is normally a target, right? So my question was, wait, I already summoned 5 times, because if you look at my summons, I summoned Pascalis, number 1. I had Blue Tang, number 2. I had Blue Slug, number 3. Sea Angel, number 4. And then Foreign Enemy, number 5. So my next thing was, oh, Nibiru could be live. So they're waiting patiently to use Nibiru. Now the question is, I didn't know what they were playing at the time. So I was just going to be tactical myself, okay, no, it's fine. Are they going to activate Nibiru here? No, they didn't. So let me just go through a normal place. Let me make sure I have Ocean on the field immediately, because if I didn't have Ocean, I would have been in deep trouble, because Ocean is kind of the main reason why you have a bit of protection. Because if you use Marincess Crystal Heart as a link material, you are unaffected by opponent card effects. So even through Nibiru, you're unaffected. But of course, now you have to get Crystal Heart on the field first. So that's my whole game plan. So I have to now make Crystal Heart first, then the extra monster zone, because already it will be unaffected by itself. Then I have to add back using the effect of foreign enemy. And I use the field spell to equip. This is for equipping. and then I'm going to summon a monster from the deck. So I'm going to use Dive instead. No Ash. So I get the Mandarin. Now, the monster that I'm going to summon will be unaffected. Now, the question is, did I go for the link 4? And the question is, how do you know when you're going to Nibiru? Well, the question is, well, the answer actually is, you don't know. Because they can do it at any point. They could have done it here, they could have done it later, they could have done it earlier. Once there's 5 summons, they can wait till the end phase, or they can wait till the end of the main phase, depending on what's happening, and then they can clear your board. So I just played the safe way, get the link 3, get my wave, so at least I know I do have some form of disruption. And obviously my hand is quite good. Alright, so now they activate the Nibiru, which is a bit late because my monster is already unaffected. So can you see, the timing was a bit bad on their part. But the fact that I recognized it from for an enemy summon was the 5th summon. Once they filled it up, I knew, okay, cool. They probably had Nibiru. So my hunch was, let me probably link it up. Because if I didn't do that, I would have been in deep trouble. I would have done on my place, and then at this point, I would have been Nibiru. But fortunately, because I'm already unaffected through the field spell, I'm safe. So nothing happens. Although, it means that for the rest of the duel, Nibiru's in their hand. So I didn't get rid of it. So the whole duel, I'm pretty much playing around Nibiru now. So now I'll play into it. So now the rest of the duel, I have to now play around it. So basically, I have to make sure my summons are accurate. Because if it's more than 5, they will Nibiru at any point. And at this point, I don't know what they're playing yet. So this is going to be literally me not knowing what's going on. So I just set my Book of Eclipse. I have my wave in my hand. I have a good, follow-up. The Springworm Blue Tang. My graveyard's also good because I have Vaseline for protection in case my field spells got rid of for some reason. Then I'm okay. But let's pass on the turn and let's see what the opponent does. So now standby phase, main phase. Oh, okay, part of Extravagance. Limited to 1. So my thought was, are they playing Labyrinth? Because Labyrinth also plays part of Extravagance as well. Only to find out, evenly matched. I'm like, okay. Evenly matched, I'm like, oh, damn. Now you're, oh, so, okay, cool. I could have gone into Argonaut, negated that, but the problem is Nibiru would have been live, because remember, I have to make Link 4 unaffected, and at that point, I couldn't make the Link 4 unaffected, so I could have extended more with the Spring Girl, but the problem is now, I was a bit in trouble. So I didn't want to take that risk of making Argonaut not being unaffected. Because if it was not unaffected, that means Nibiru would be wiping it to the graveyard, and then that would be a waste. So unfortunately, we didn't have a choice. That evening match, so it means we have to get rid of the entire field. But I told myself, no, it's fine. We'll get rid of everything except for, obviously, the Corvo Triangle. And we're okay. And then only to find out in the main phase 2, we're playing Flaunderies. And I was just like, oh, okay. Flaunderies is one of those decks that, you haven't seen in a while. It used to be like the real anti-meta, because first of all, they don't lose to Maxi, because first of all, they don't special summon. Number 2, they have a very, very bad floodgate in M-Pen, because that basically shuts down Link monsters specifically, which is our deck. And now my worry was, okay, they probably have the quick play spell, which is the Flaunderies and I think the Advent, yeah, Flaunderies and the Advent Adventure. So this card basically dodges targeting effects on their monsters. So dodges Imperm, dodges Veiler, dodges all those things, right? So my worry was, okay, I got Wave. Let me try and do something. I need to find out. They do have the quick play spell. So now it dodges the negate because it has to target the monster, successfully negate, and then it becomes unaffected. But they lose the monster instead. That doesn't matter because now they also have Small Bird of Perfection, which is an extra summon. So they'll do their chain blocking, which they're also doing. So just like how I explained earlier, chain blocking is preventing monsters from, you're just protecting the layer of monsters that the effect is being activating. Eglin's going to add the M-Pen and then going to tribute summon for the M-Pen, and now basically we are floodgated. So for those who don't know what Flaunderies is, They're a deck that basically relies on normal summoning when effects are resolving. So they have an effect, and when the effect resolves, you can normal summon a wing beast monster. But for M-Pen specifically, if you look at the card effect, it says you can add, if you want to respell a trap from deck to your hand, then you can normal summon one monster. So it's not just any wing beast monster, it's normal summon any monster in the game. So that includes floodgate cards, all those things. So they usually pair it up with something, and you'll see later. But the main reason why this card is a problem and why it's limited to one, especially in the best of one format, is because of the next effect, right? Which says that while this tribute summon card is in the monster zone, tribute summon card, your opponent cannot activate effects of special summon monsters they control in attack position. And that's huge because for link decks or monsters that cannot be in defense position, it's a problem. Because obviously if it's in defense, it's fine. But now if it's an attack, you cannot activate anything. So even if you flip it face down, when you flip it face up, it goes back into attack position. So it's an inherent floodgate for us. So how do we try and play around this? We'll see. So we're going to add back the Eggland. We're going to add obviously the Dreaming Town, which is going to be a tribute normal summon on my turn. We'll set it. So currently the floodgate is live. 8,000 life points, 8,500 life points. Now you're probably thinking, okay, we're screwed. How do we deal with this? Well, let's see. So fortunately, I drew Ice Jade around Adrian. Now, normally it wouldn't be a good idea. However, we can still summon Gimir because Gimir, although in attack position, is still going to have higher attack than the M-Pen. But then M-Pen has the third effect, which is crazy, right? Because now it says once per battle, during damage calculation, if it battles an opponent's monster, it will just banish a card from your hand, and then it would reduce the attack of the opponent's monster by half. So even if you go in with Gimir, we're going to get 1,500 because we're going to lose half the attack. So how do we get rid of this thing? Because this thing is going to be pretty much our floodgate forever. So luckily, I do have Pescalis in the graveyard, and I do have Wave, and Pescalis can banish itself to recover a Marince's Spell Trap. So my priority was, let's get Wave first thing before we do anything, right? And then the opponent activates Maxi. Love to see it. Maxi, right? The card that doesn't work against them, they love to do that. Nonetheless, let's discard the extra blue tank, and let's try and summon our Ice Jade Adrian. So now we have it on field. Now let's try and make it unaffected, because obviously you want to make sure the effect of Gimir is live. Because as you know, Gimir is a disruption. Not a disruption in the form of negate, but it puts pressure on your opponent, because if you activate the effect in response to an opponent's card effect, you can banish that card, which is a good thing. And also, for this turn, we cannot be destroyed or banished by our opponent's card effect. So even under maybe a Kastira, a Rise Heart, or even a Shifter, if we discard, if we activate Gimir's effect, then all our cards will go to the graveyard, because it basically shuts down anything from being banished for us, but for them they'll still be banished. So that's a nice thing to know. So with this one, my goal was to summon Wave, or not to summon Wave, but to use Wave on the M-Pen, because this will shut down the floodgate. And now they use the Dreaming Town already, right? So my game plan was, okay, whenever they summon, I'm going to chain, and this is going to be the Rabina. So the Rabina is going to be banished, because remember, we're reacting to a monster effect on the opponent's side. So if we chain a card to them, we're going to banish the card. So now they summon the Stray, they're going to obviously recover their quick play spells and their monsters. They'll add back to their hand. And for some reason, they didn't summon a higher level tribute, which is odd. So I just get my second wave, because I do have a second wave, and also summon Blue Tang. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't I go for another summon? Remember, the Nibiru's in their hand. I also played into Maxi, so I gave them 2 cards off the Ice Shade Ron's effect. So that's like kind of the big negative of Ice Shade Ron. If Max is in play, it's basically 3 cards because you're gonna summon the Ice Shade Ron, the token, and you're gonna get the Ice Shade Communion Agent. So that's 3 cards. Then, and also that's 3 summons as well. Then you also have a Blue Tank, which is a 4th summon. So if I went to Coral the Enemy, or if I went to somewhere else, I would have got Nibiru. Now, the other option you would say, but now wait, you had Wave in your hand. You could have gone to a Link 3, target any of the monsters, which is already negated. So obviously like the MP, maybe the Stree or the Ravina, then I'll be safe from the Nibiru. I wanted to do that, but then I was thinking, no, it's fine. Because either way, it's not going to activate. You know, it's going to activate, but it should be their monster. So I wanted to keep the Link 3 on field. So that was kind of my play. I was like, no, it's fine. I'll keep Wave because for the next turn, I want M-Pin to be negated. Because I don't want this card to be live, the floodgate effect. So that's what I didn't go for the effect to go into Link 3 and play it into Nibiru, because Nibiru was going to just mess up my plans altogether. So I just normal summoned, sent Sleeping Maiden, went for battle. I killed the bird, and they're fine. So I got rid of the M-Pin finally. And main phase 2, I kept it at that because I knew the Bureau was in there. I had no protection now. I had to make sure. I have another part of duality. I was like, you know what? How lucky can these guys be? Part of duality, part of extravagance, and also part of prosperity. You love to see it. And guess what they have? Dark Ruler, another Rabina, Fossil Diner, Dark Ruler, triple Dark Ruler. And I decided to pick up the Fossil Diner. So remember I spoke about earlier where the M-Pin is going to allow you to summon any monster from the game, pretty much normal summon. That's the monster that they're going to summon. If M-Pin was on the field, they were going to summon Fossil Dino, then I cannot special summon at all. I can only normal summon, which is bad for us, but good for them because they don't special summon at all. Because basically the floodgate says either player can special summon monsters, but you can actually not be affected because you don't special summon yourself. So that would be a real problem if we had that issue. But luckily, this card did not get summoned in the duel. So just to give you a bit of a spoiler there. So you're gonna obviously play through the effects. They're gonna do their little effect of adding cards to the hand, searching, all that stuff. Now waiting for give me a timing up because I want to see what they're gonna do. We're protected from being destroyed and banished, but obviously getting the effect to banish a crucial card we have to see. So this is where I said, okay, I'm going to use this effect now because Sumos is sending all itself, and the nice thing is any card with that name is going to get banished as well. So all the Sumos are gone. Let's see what happens. They're going to use the elbows. They're going to reveal the Riser. So now I know there's Riser in their hand. They're going to use that effect. Normal summon the street. Interesting. Banish it to recover it. I was like, no, you're not going to do that. Negative and in phase. Interesting. He drew a dimensional barrier, which is not really useful, but okay, it's fine. We're going to see Angel again. And now again, we're keeping the summons. So remember, that's not summon number 2. This is like, we're playing into Nibiru now, so we must just be careful. Every time we playing this now, we have to be safe. Because if we're not careful, Nibiru can just wash us off and we're done. Now, I don't know why I did this play. I think we made it into Crystal Art because it didn't actually mean anything. I'm going to Coral Enemy because I want to get mine. Princess Wave. But again, 5 summons. That's the thing, 5 summons. But again, I didn't go to Nibiru again, so I waited. Clear the board. Get some life points down, because if I get low life points, it will put pressure on them as well. So now I link off into Great Robbery. This is the 4th summon. So I counted very carefully. If I revive an enemy's effect, it would have been 5 summons. So luckily, I can get back Wave. Now I can draw for next turn, hopefully. And then I'll be good. Banish the Ron. He's going to call back the Great early, which is odd. I think that was a misplay from him because he should have kept that for something else. Because I didn't activate Coral Enemy's effect at all. But nonetheless, it's fine. and I'm gonna use the effect of Barbarian to increase its attack. Because obviously a card got banished. I picked up Book of Moon, which is not bad. Not bad at all. Apex Avian's in his hand. We're going to banish that. Because now he wants to use that. Okay. And now he's going to use Robina, Eglin. And he's going to use that. I'm going to try to negate Wave. And guess what? Advent again. So this is the second time he's used that quick play spell to dodge stuff. So again, Wave doesn't make us ineffective, unfortunately, because the monster that we targeted is not there anymore. So it's unfortunate. And they pretty much have full combo, minus the M-Pin, basically. So they got their field spell there, which is the map. The map is always important for them. So he's going to add back the quick play spell. So he just has endless advantage. If he has that quick play spell, he's sorted. Pretty much he's sorted. If he's not sorted out, then he's in trouble. So he's just getting advantage the whole time because he knows now I'm not affected. He banishes the Empen, summons the Riser. The Riser is going to spin back both my cards, which is just crazy, right? You would think, wow, the guy's not in the duel, but he's pretty much back in it. So I'm thinking, okay, no, it's fine. I shouldn't panic because I'll see what I have in my graveyard, which I do have. I mean, monsters in my graveyard, right? I do have Coral Triangle. I do have other monsters. Obviously, I don't have Coral Enemy, but I do have plays to make. So he obviously has an additional normal summon, adds the Eglin, adds another Riser, and then he tribute summons for Apex Avian. Now, Apex Avian is usually a problem, right? However, with this one, you can see I got Book of Moon. So immediately I draw, hit dive, perfect, bait the negate. Once the negate's out the way, now, you're probably thinking, how am I going to win this? Because it's Flaunderies, right? They pretty much getting advantage. Every time I normal summon, they're going to have advantage. So the goal here, as a tip, if you're playing a deck like Flaunderies or something that requires you to, let's say, normal summon, right? You basically do the opposite of that. Bearing in mind also, Nibiru is in their hand the whole time. So in this duel, Nibiru was in their hand. So I could not afford to summon more times. However, I looked at the life points, I'm like, oh wait, hold on. 2100. All I need is a link 1, equip with 3 monsters or 2 monsters, and then I pretty much have a game. And obviously the negate was baited. So I had the field spell, I had to die. So the goal was to summon from the to not normal summon at all, but rather summon from the graveyard, hit Blue Tang saying whatever monster, Scalus, engulf into Blue Slug, which I did keep the whole time. I only had 2, but I always keep 1 for later. And then obviously we're gonna activate the effect to add 3 cards, which is whatever. I don't know why I chose Crystal Heart here. Maybe just put it back in the deck for whatever reason, but nonetheless, let's see what we get. Nothing. Equip 2. And guess what? We're at 2100, and that is GG. Now, I will say this. That game was very intense because I was even thinking, how am I going to win this thing? Because this guy has an answer for everything. And now sometimes you think, oh, how do I make sure that I have everything? You don't have the right plays. The plays you make depend on what's happening in the duel. You see, at that moment, I'm thinking, okay, he's got a floodgate. All right, cool. Let's get rid of the floodgate. Okay. He's playing around my Marince's Wave. So obviously he knows my deck, but obviously he did make a bit of misplays a bit. So that kind of helped you to my advantage because I know how to play my deck well. Now, sometimes you might not be able to make that distinguishing difference between you and the opponent, but obviously the duel will dictate what's happening. And you're probably thinking, was I running out of time? Hell yeah, I was running out of time. Time is a big factor in this in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, especially in Master Duel, because now the time, it seems like you can't have time to think. You have to think fast because the time is ticking. It's not like TCG where you have a lot of time where you can think about plays and all that stuff. I mean, even then there's a time limit, but it's more than enough time. That's pretty much, how that duel went. And this is kind of what is happening here. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of tips. But obviously, if Flounder is not going to play all the time. Now, there is an opponent you're going to play all the time. And that I'm going to show you right now, actually. So let's go into that matchup first. But first, let's look at the deck list of that next opponent. So this is the next opponent I want to show you. This is Labyrinth. Now you're thinking, whoa, this is a very unorthodox deck list. I mean, it's 52 cards, looks pretty lackluster. What is happening here? Well, they got the Nibiru here. They got the Shizu cards. They got Electromagnetic Turtle for some reason. I don't know why they have it here, but hey, it's something to discard, right? Because obviously it's discard fodder for all of these. Limited to 2 Tori, limited to 2 Chandelier, so it's fine. But nonetheless, they got Skill Drain here. Did Skill Drain come into play? Gonna find out now. So Labyrinth right now is kind of like one of the top tier decks right now at the moment because it's quite resilient. And obviously it can play a lot of floodgates, it can play through a lot of stuff, and obviously it doesn't really special summon a lot. So it uses cards like Maxi, Ash, of course, to the advantage. And yeah, Labyrinth is kind of a difficult deck to deal with. However, not all Labyrinth players are that smart. So if they don't know how your deck works, then you can obviously play around it. So hopefully I will show you what you can do against Labyrinth. Now, you notice their deck list isn't the greatest because they're missing, for example, the Rumor Karma Cannon, which is another very powerful card in Labyrinth. They're also not playing ideal ratios, so maybe this player is not so experienced. However, I have faced experienced players before, so I just want to showcase you what you do if Labyrinth is overpowering you or what. So let's see how it goes in that deck. Let's see what happens. All right. So this is our hand for this replay. This is against Labyrinth, and you can see my hand is not so great because first of all I'm going second, and going second is always tricky in Master Duel, especially in the best of one. So yeah, it's insane, right? So our hand doesn't look the greatest. But at this point, I didn't know I was playing Labyrinth. So only when I saw what my opponent was doing, I'm like, oh damn, I'm playing Labyrinth. I do have kind of a counter, one of them, which is Bazir Lima, which is fine. But I don't know how I felt going into this duel. Like, okay, hey, my hand's not great. I have no hand trap. I don't even have like Ashura Ogre or Ice Jade Ron to kind of push me through going second. Because going second is always the more tricky part in Master Duel. So if you can get through going second, you can pretty much do anything. So nonetheless, we can make things happen, but let's see. They're gonna go Chandelier, discarding the Magnetic Turtle. I'm like, what? That's crazy. Yeah, and obviously they have the Labyrinth, the Love the Lady, and they set obviously the Big Welcome, and that's their turn. So yeah, for going first, this is a great hand, but for going second though, not so great. Okay, so I draw for turn. Now I draw a Wave, which is again not a good hand to draw because there's nothing active on my field. So at the moment, Wave is kind of a dead card. So pretty much I'm working with the same hand I had in the beginning. So it doesn't really matter. So what's public knowledge? When I saw this Magnetic Turtle, it means that I know that at some point he's going to banish this card in my battle phase. Fine. Lady Labyrinth is very good because while there's a set card on the field, it's untargetable and cannot be destroyed. I don't know what this other set down card was at the time, but I knew there was a Big Welcome. So Labyrinth basically waits on timing. So that's how Labyrinth works. Labyrinth players, when they see your board, they think, okay, at what point do I disrupt your board? If I disrupt your board at a certain point, it's what we refer to as the choke point. So there's a choke point in your deck that after this point, you can't do anything. So most people would think Sea Angel's a choke point, not really. Foreign Enemy is a good choke point, especially when you activate the effect of Foreign Enemy to revive a monster. That is a choke point. If you negate that, then I can't do anything. I mean, the Graveyard effect is okay, but it's not like stopping anything. But the effect to revive a monster, That's good. So that's actually what I realized with this duel specifically. I still played the same, right? And when I see opportunity, I take it. So first of all, how do you play around this, right? Yes, indestructible, untargetable. So Lady Labyrinth says, while you control a set card, your opponent cannot target this card or card effect. Also cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effect. So that's the only thing that is public knowledge at this point. We don't know what is in his hand here. We know there's a big welcome, and we know that there is electromagnetic turtle, right? So obviously we have to see how we can play through it. So my priority is get Basilema in the graveyard because it's in my hand right now, and that is the one counter that will stop everything, right? Because Basilema will protect my monsters from being destroyed if he decides to go for my field for some reason. So because I also have Seahorse in my hand, it's perfect because I can go into Basilema, go into Blue Slug, and then we can go from there. So let's see what we do. Basilema, he actually has Welcome Labyrinth, okay, which is fine. A bit again, Labyrinth, the timing for them, it just really depends what they want to do. But for them, they want to activate this now, it's fine. So obviously we'll trigger the effect of Lady, who will set a trap from the deck directly, and then we'll see what they summon. So they're going to summon, they're going to set obviously Ghastly Glitch, which is fine, and they're going to summon the Ariana, which is odd, right? And again, you would think, oh, the Clue Clock. Now, why the Clue Clock is so important? Because the Clue Clock can make you activate a trap card the turn was set, because you control a Labyrinth monster. So you're thinking, oh, okay, the opponent will get rid of my normal summon, because remember, we only rely on the normal summon. We have not done nothing else this turn. The normal summon, and that's it. Basilema is not useful on the field, useful in the graveyard. So if I was playing Labyrinth, this is what I would do. I would have done Clue Clock is added, activate Clue Clock, activate Ghastly Glitch, and then destroy my normal summon. Then I can't do anything, right? That would be the logical play. Look what the opponent does. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So he just gave me an opportunity. And look at that. He only waits now when there's a link 1 on the field. He's like, oh wait, I should have activated it early. So another tip also, what also helps, make sure you play with your toggle on at all times. I know it sounds silly, because if you're playing cards like Maxi, Cross-Out Designator, all those things, it's going to be bothering you the whole time. Yes, if you're going first, turn it off. But if you're going going second, or if you're going, you know, maybe, I don't know, running for time or something like that, make sure you have toggle on at all times, right? Unless you're going for time or something like that. So you see, this player was almost perfect, but the problem is now he messed up because he waited for me to link off into Basilema off. So now whatever he does doesn't really matter because Clue Clock now is activated, right? I linked someone again. I'm like, oh, okay, nothing. Let me go into Sea Angel, right? Does he have an Ash? Okay, he has nothing. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me use Mandarin. Let me link off into Foreign Enemy. And remember I talked about the choke points? This is a good choke point here. Okay, so now you see, now you realize, okay, wait, if I get rid of Foreign Enemy, there's nothing. And remember what I told you earlier. Do not reveal everything to your opponent. You see, I still have the field spell, and I still have Dive in my hand. If anything happened to Foreign Enemy or Mandarin or something, I could have carried on playing still. And notice, he waited until I summoned. I didn't even activate the effect of Foreign Enemy yet. As you can see, there's no ticks here. So, another mistake from the lab player. He played this card first. So, now, you're thinking, oh, why didn't I use Basilema's effect to protect Foreign Enemy? Well, remember, if I activated the effect of Foreign Enemy to revive a monster, and then he popped the card on the field, then I would have protected Basilema. But because I know, wait, I can activate Foreign Enemy, I can link summon Foreign Enemy again, doesn't matter, right? because remember, I still have dive, I still have the field spell. So I'm like, okay, wait, I'd rather keep Bazalima for something else. And obviously Chandelier is going to activate, which is fine, no problem. All good. Now I activate the field spell, now I activate dive. Now he wants to activate Big Welcome Labyrinth because he probably wants to summon now the Lovely. And there's a Lovely on the field. So on the resolution, I'm going to summon the blue tag from the deck, and now I'm going to send a monster to grave. And again, he has a choice. If obviously a monster left the field by a trap effect, we can throw a card in the hand at random or on the field, so they can choose. So, whatever I'm sending is not really going to be important, but the fact that this player decided to go for my hand, right? So you'll see what he decided to do. So he could have gone for the field spell, which is a good choice. He could have gone for Mandarin. He could have gone for anything, but let's see what he does. So Labyrinth's going to summon. The Torby's going to activate, summon itself, and he's going to destroy my hand. Wow. Okay, great. I send Spring Girl, and guess what? My combo is live. So we all know what that means, right? Foreign enemy hasn't been activated, so guess what? There's no more public disruption. This is not a disruption. Torby and Chandelier, when they activate, they're not disruptions. Blue Clock already activated. The Welcome Labyrinth cannot activate again. It's only one effect per turn, so it cannot return cost to the hand. I have Spring Girl. Perfect. Blue Clock's gonna add itself. That's fine. Irrelevant. My combo is live because I have everything I need to go for the game. And there it is. So this is it's like repetitive. The mistake of Labyrinth was the timing. If they just waited on the timing of their destruction, they could have ended my turn very early. But unfortunately for this player, not so great. So, yeah. And obviously we all know where this is going. Link 3 into Bubble Reef. Bubble Reef is going to send, revive, link off, and we're going to go into World Sea Dragon. And we all know where we're going from here. Banish the field? Yep, we banished the field. There we go. Now we banished the field, but we also get a benefit of destroying cards on the field. Because remember, we have co-link monsters, so we have 2 cards, we're only popping 1. So, we kept the wave in our hand, fortunately, and also we have, basically protected status, because Atlantis is going to protect, obviously, everybody, and then we're good. So now, Blue Clock is not doing anything because it's dead. Now, again, you would think, oh, the Blue Clock is there, but he has Big Welcome Labyrinth, so he's waiting for me to do something. Well, this requires a fiend monster. See, it says you can banish this card from your graveyard and target a fiend monster to be controlled. So it's live right now at the moment. But again, the timing overall doesn't make sense for this opponent. But in any case, it didn't matter because Kaiju. So Kaiju means Big Welcome Labyrinth cannot activate because obviously it's a Aqua monster, not a fiend monster. And guess what? I can get my monster back. So I just board wipe again, relink the field, and that's it. Now, he tries and be funny. He has something in his hand, but it doesn't mean anything. Okay, the battle phase is over. Okay, cool. I knew the turtle was there. Remember in the beginning, the turtle was there. So he was waiting for the moment to say, okay, I'm gonna use this now to get rid of it. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. What do you have? I have Blue Tang, send Pascalis to get something back next turn. If there is a next turn, let's see what he does. He just said something. I don't know what that is. It doesn't really bother me at all. Battle phase, destroy it. Oh, summon an average monster? Okay. So, here's the thing. When Zelantis is chain link 1, and you do something on chain link 2, whatever you do on chain link 2, it means it's on the field at that point. So if there was an effect to activate on normal or special summon, it has to be on the field. He made the mistake again. Timing. You see, one thing about Labyrinth players, they all rely on timing. if you can almost like play around with your opponent and try and manipulate them into activating things early, then that's it. But obviously, a skillful Labyrinth player will not be doing these type of mistakes, because they should wait for, okay, wait, there's a threat, let's use the trap. He used it so early, because if he used a chain link 1 and I use chain link 2, then obviously it's not going to work, because Atlantis at that point in time has to say, okay, I want to destroy a card from the field, there's nothing on the field. So him doing it in this order is wrong. So watch what happens. He summons Ariana, but now there's 2 cards on the field now. Ariana is not going to activate because it's not staying on the field, because Atlantis is now going to say destroy cards on the field, and guess what? Gone. So it's a waste. The Labyrinth monster was a waste. This whole duel was basically just telling you that it doesn't matter who you are, right? You cannot pick up a deck and expect to be good. I promise you, you cannot expect to be good. You see, Labyrinth, as strong as it is, it requires also a good pilot as well. Just like with any other deck as well. There's no way branded players can play the way they play if you're not piloted and skillful enough. You have to know how to play your deck well. You have to know the chain link, the timing of things. This duel could have been easily lost right there and there when I normal summoned Basilima. Literally could have activated the Ghastly Glitch. My turn was ended. It could have won the game. But because of that one opening, they decided to just mess up every single play. And then obviously threw the game away ultimately. And that's the thing. They don't know what you're going to do. Now, you could argue, did he know what was happening? No, he didn't know. But I also didn't know as well. But you see, it's those plays like that that makes you a good player versus a bad player. And unfortunately, he was one of those bad Labyrinth players that was just unfortunately playing a good deck. Because the deck is good, but now you wasn't playing it too well. So that was Labyrinth. I do have one more duel to show you, and we can wrap it up from here. So this is the final deck list for today's duel analysis. And this is basically MathMech. Now, MathMech, you probably haven't heard in a while. MathMech are in the tier list, if I'm not mistaken. And they're pretty good. Very consistent, of course, because obviously you've got triple MathMech circular, but of course they did lose Diameter to 1, and obviously Silent Money to 2, which is fine because most of us got it in the structure deck anyway, so not really losing anything. But for those who crafted it, yes. So MathMech, pretty good deck, as you can see. 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, pretty standard. All the MathMech cards, obviously Sigma, good. Obviously the Firewall package, Firewall Defense, Firewall Phantom, you know, obviously they got the Save Worm, they got the Darkfluid, Neo Tempest Terahertz. They're not playing the other Link Sync, the Singularity, but they are playing Link Decoder. So you think, okay, it's a pretty good deck. Pretty standard, right? MathMech, what can go wrong? What is the end play of MathMech? It's Super Factorial on their turn, if they can get to it. And on your turn, they activate it, they go into Liblation, and pretty much GG from it. However, let's see how this duel unfolds. Let's go into the replay. All right. So, you can see this is my hand at the moment. So, remember we spoke about, you know, having a good hand and seeing what you can do with it. So, you're thinking this hand doesn't look too great, right? We only have one name, which is Spring Girl, which is not ideal because it doesn't really get your combo started. We do have Barrier Statue. Some would argue Barrier Statue is a floodgate. Yes, it is, but it's not as broken compared to like Skill Drain or something else, right? We obviously have Drawn Awkward, which is, like I said, meta relevant, and DD Crow, which I stand by till this day, is a better Bestial because Bestials only can target light or dark monsters, whereas DD Crow can target any card in the graveyard, any card. So I always stand by that. And obviously, got Book of Eclipse. So you're probably thinking, okay, not ideal. We're going first there, by the way. Going first. Now, I could have easily just summoned Barrier Statue and then taken it from there. I probably did that. Let's see. I think I did. No, I went to Spring Girl first. So Spring Girl, that combo is slightly linear. So Sea Angel first, and again, There's an effect on the next summon when it's sent to the graveyard, so chain block again. Okay, so always remember, if you can chain block, do that. Always note, another tip, if you have an opportunity to chain block, I like to make sure if I have Blue Tang or Spring Girl, I make sure I chain block, especially for Sea Angel, because Sea Angel is the one you want to protect. So Seahorse unfortunately does not chain block anything. So normally you would think Seahorse combo, okay, link 1, New Slug, add back Seahorse, special summon, link off into Sea Angel. Unfortunately, there's no chain blocking there. So that's why I prefer, if I can have a chain block opportunity, I would do it. Even on Blue Slug into Blue from Blue Tang link 1. I always chain block Blue Tang because Blue Tang is going to give me a card to add to my hand. So that can be Ash. So Blue Slug doesn't have anything to Ash, just from graveyard. So that's why I do that. So we're going to use Dive here, revive back Spring Girl, and then we're going to go into Core Enemy. Now you've seen this combo so many times, but pretty much just standard Marince's combo. If you're playing this type of version, of course. Spring Girl going into Blue Slug, getting names in the graveyard, so we have follow up. Blue Slug is going to add back the Spring Girl. Link off into Coral Triangle. So Coral Triangle here will add us our Marince's Wave, but Coral Triangle, Coral Enemy will give us our Marince's Dive to follow up. Discard the Barrier Statue, and then there we go, there's Ash. So you notice the chain block would have been used on Sea Angel, but fortunately we had it on the triangle. So currently we're in trouble because we have no wave, and all we have is Book of Eclipse, but we do have hand traps, fortunately, in Drawn Lockbird and DD Crow. So now, against Mathmech, what is your goal? You're going second against Math, or you're going first against Mathmech. So turn 2, what do? Disrupt them as much as you can. So Drawn Lockbird is an easy one because they love adding as well. So their first special summon was most likely be Mathmech Circular. Will get them going. They also want to try and summon Sigma from the graveyard, disrupt them as well. You know? So there's many ways to work around it. There's also Book of Eclipse. So here's another tip which I want to give you. Drawn Lockbird and Book of Eclipse have a nice interaction. Because Drawn Lockbird, as we know, it's a card where it says if a card is added from main to opponent's hand, except in the draw phase, of course, you can send a card to graveyard. Then for the rest of the turn, cards cannot be added from either player's main deck to the hand. So it means even in the end phase, if there's a resolution of an effect that will add cards, it says Drawn Lockbird says no. Even Max C says no. So the opponent Max C's, you draw Lockbird, Max C shut off. Yes, the downside is you cannot add cards yourself, but at least you stop Max C. And I think that's a fair trade, right? So let's see how that unfolds. So turn 1, Silent Mining. I promise you, we were all guilty of this back in the day. Silent Mining, when we were playing Marince's, if you're new to the deck, I won't lie, we were all playing Silent Mining. Some people still play Silent Mining, they still stick by it, but the thing is, it opens up to Draw and Lock. Because it's the first thing you're adding. And the moment you add something for the first, like your first add, Drawn Lockbird is probably in play, and that is kind of the negative of Drawn Lockbird against decks that obviously rely on adding cards. So especially for Marince's, because now if we have Silent Mining and you added a Marince's card, now you can't add anything else. So your whole turn's kind of shut off basically, because you can't have Wave, you can't have Ocean, you're gonna dive, you don't have it, you're screwed. So in Mathmech's case, you see they're gonna add Circular. I'm going to draw immediately because I know drawing now means when they summon Circular, they cannot add Super Factorial. They have to have another way just to add the Factorial. So they have to make the Exceed summon level 4, and that's it. So let's see what they do. So under draw, Mathmech Circular, send the Diameter. And they're going to use the addition to summon. They're going to use Sigma. So the reason why they did this, 3 level 4 monsters. If you look at Mathmech specifically, they have XC is called Allen version. Allen version says you can detach 2 or 4 materials, right? And you can either add a spell or trap to the hand at level 4 or add a mathematics card, right? What they wanted to do was probably go into Duel Mathematics Final Sigma, okay? Which obviously we can't tell now in the deck now because obviously it's closed now, but the fact that they summoned 3 mathematics with the tuner monster, which implies that, hey, they want to go into either a synchro or into a further play. And I said, no, let me use Book of Eclipse now because it will prevent them from link summoning and also prevent them from doing any further plays. So that's what I did. And unfortunately, they had triple tactics thrusts. Now, I didn't anticipate them having that, but hey, another good showing of why it's powerful. So it's a very good card. Now, I'm wondering, how did the triple tactics thrust get activated? I used Duel earlier, so that's why. So they're going to set Infirm, which is great. I mean, they're good for next turn, right? I mean, you sorted. Now, in the end phase, Book of Eclipse says, where's Book of Eclipse? It says change all face-up monsters on the field to face-down defense. That's what we did. Then during the end phase, change as many face-down monsters in defense position face-up. Your opponent controls face-up. Then your opponent draws cards equal to number of monsters change face-up by this effect. So that means, even though they're supposed to draw 3 cards, remember that turn, draw and lockbird wasn't played. So even though we couldn't add cards, they also couldn't add cards. So even under Book of Eclipse, the effect does not work. So basically they draw nothing. So it's essentially a free hand trap. So Book of Eclipse doesn't have a negative cost if you use draw and lockbird in that same turn. So you might have seen the interaction before on my channel, but I think now just emphasize the point that now this is a very nice interaction. So you're probably wondering, why am I still playing the Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse? It's because of stuff like this, because the interactions are unique. So consider playing it if you want to. So there we go. So I think that was a good turn 2. I mean, we stopped them from doing what they wanted to do. Luckily, we have Book of Eclipse and draws, so that was a nice play. So now we know the only public disruption is Infirm, right? That's the only public disruption is Infirm, right? So we know from here it's pretty much game, right? So we know they have Infirm. So I'm deliberately going to Sea Angel, right? To see if they can bait out the Infirm. They don't activate it. I'm like, what? You're not activating the Infirm? You're waiting for perfect timing. Okay, let me play the field spell. Let me play Dive. Summon Blue Tank. Send from deck to grave. Okay, I send Mandarin. I'm like, what? Okay. Let me go into Crystal Heart, because this is why you must make sure you play around stuff. You see, because you know what the opponent has. They have impermanence. So the goal is to play around impermanence. So what you do, instead of going into core enemy first, I'll go Crystal Heart, and you see Angel and Crystal Heart into for an enemy, and then by doing so, I'll become ineffective. Yes, 3 times will activate, and I nicely get wave, which I'll take because I think that's fine. And now I'll summon for an enemy now. And guess what happens? I'm gonna activate the effect of for an enemy, and now the opponent decides to imperm. But only to find out, is the imperm gonna work? Let's see. Will the imperm work? No. The imperm does not work because, like I told you, I knew he had impermanence. So the best way to play around it, because he didn't imperm on Sea Angel, didn't imperm on Blue Tank, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into Crystal Heart, and then whoever I link off into with Crystal Heart is unaffected. And I basically just played around imperm, and that's it. So if you know what your opponent's playing, you can play into it or play around it. Like the same duel with the Flanderies. I knew the opponent had Nibiru, so I was playing around it. So I made sure under 5 summons, that's it. You know? So it's the same with this one here. I knew he had imperm, so the best way, if you didn't play it early, I play around it. That's it. So nothing happened. And now my combo is live, and just like the Labyrinth game, it's pretty much GG from here, right? So I go into Bubble Drop. I go into adding my Spring Girl, because Spring Girl is important. I add back another Mauritius monster. Then go into Great Bubble Reef. Bubble Reef is going to be used to revive back a Link monster, which is ideally Link 2 or higher. Spring Girl will activate to summon herself, banishing Link 3. Discarding Water Monster, reviving Link 3. Link off into Zelantis. So this is now full on OTK. The other duel was just with Zelantis and Foreign Enemy. Now this is full on OTK. So I'll probably do another video for duel analysis specifically on OTK moments where the opponent thinks I'm going into some play and then I ended up just clearing the board and obviously playing around certain things. Like playing around Nibiru, playing around Emperor, and playing around Destruction. So that will be a specific video just for that. But for now, this is pretty much OTK, right? So there it is. Empty board, hit the field, and blue side for the win. So you can see in those three duels, those moments is what we call, those small interactions that you need to know, so that will help you to become a better player. Obviously, sometimes your opponent can be the greatest of all time, and sometimes your opponent cannot be the greatest of all time, but it doesn't mean you should be complacent as well. So honestly, I think if these three duels do not showcase anything, I don't know what will. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more. And yeah, let me know if you like this type of video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.